Yes, exactly. All right, let me enable the chat so that everyone can tell us hello. It's super annoying um that we have to do this every time now. Let's see here. Everyone, Zoom just likes to give more things that people have to do to like start off their webinars, right? But here we go. All right, all right, everyone's allowed to chat now. Feel free to say hello and welcome, and we are excited to have you. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today because this
Thank
is
you.
then to have everyone here today to join us for our official, boy, I just sounded like Ross and Friends there with that little squeal laugh. This is our official 2023 conference season kickoff webinar. Everyone here, we're having so much fun. For those of you who do not know me yet, haven't met me yet, I'm Alexa Bigwarf. I am host of the Women in Publishing Summit, which is truly my most favorite thing to do. And what's been really exciting is over the past few years, as we have grown and evolved, we have changed it from being just a 1-week event that happens in March to a party that just keeps happening every month over and over with our wonderful presentations from our sponsors. So we will be, just a quick announcement, we will be putting the tickets for sale live on November 7th. So be watching your emails. If you are not on our email list yet, when you registered for this webinar, you will have been added to our email list. So you can unsubscribe if you'd like. We will not take offense to that if you just came to see Fazia and then you're done. But I would encourage you to stay on because we have a lot of great information for you. And of course, the upcoming conference in March and all of those wonderful things. So if you've been around us for a little while, you know Fazia Burke of PubSite, and you know of PubSite. They've been a wonderful, most generous sponsor for several years now. We use their tool. We love it. But today we're going to do something a little bit different. And we have plenty of material out there if you want a tutorial on using PubSite. But today we wanted to take a step back and talk about the simple questions of why you even need a website in the first place. And when you start thinking about having one and what you can be doing if your books aren't published yet. And most importantly, how you can utilize your website as a tool to really market your books, because we're always looking for things to market our books. So just a little bit of housekeeping, then I'm going to put it over to Fazia and let her take it over. But we do have a Q&A box. So please, if you have questions, put those in the Q&A box. We always have time for questions at the end. Chat away as much as you would like in the chat, but if you have a question, do click on that little Q&A box and put it there so that we don't miss your questions. And second of all, what's it called? The transcript, not the transcript, the goodness gracious, I can't think of the word. If you are hearing impaired and need help with the closed captioning, you can click on the closed captioning box and get that for you. We will be sending out a replay. The best place, the fastest place to get to the replay is always our YouTube channel. We're Write, Publish, Sell on YouTube. We load the videos there first, but we will send out the replay to everyone who was registered. And I do believe that is all of the key things that I needed to cover today. And yes, the summit does make a great holiday gift, Antoinette. Thank you so much for bringing that up. If you have a writer in your life that you love, by all means, gift them the conference. Okay, well, yay. I feel like we just talked because we just recorded a podcast the other day, but I'm so glad to see you again.
Yeah, we did. Thank you so much. I love being with you and I love your community. So I'm so happy to be here again with all of you guys. Thank you so much. Live is kind of a whole new thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. You're actually here. So that's pretty cool. We're usually recording things. But it's been great. And I love being part of this community. And I love being part of Alexa's team. I love the fact that on your wall right there is like handwritten schedule on the side. And I'm like, with all the tech tools we talk about, like sometimes it just comes back to like writing it on a piece of paper.
I'm telling you, this is the way my brain works. Like I have to see it and organize it. And I am so close to finalizing the schedule for the conference. And yes, that's the way I work, with a big old giant sticky note. And
love that. Love it. So thank you so much for having me here. Thank you everyone for joining. I'm so excited for your author journey, and thrilled to be supporting you. I want to tell you a little bit about myself and then we can go on. And I'm telling you about myself so you know why you're even listening to me. So I'll tell you that I started my book publishing journey right out of college. So it's been decades, in case you were curious. And I started in John Wiley, and then I went on to work at Henry Holt. And that's when I saw the internet for the first time. And I actually thought, oh my God, this is going to change the world. And of course, as we all know in this community, publishing is a slow-moving enterprise. And in 95 or something, when I thought the internet was going to change the world, people thought I was crazy. So I quit my job and I started a company called FSP Associates. We do publicity and marketing for books and authors. I've had the immense pleasure of working, and honor really, of working with big best-selling authors. I'm not going to do any name dropping. You can check it out on my website. And then my husband, who's actually in chat. So say hi, everyone. John is in here supporting me and helping answer any questions. John and I, John also is in book publishing, and we both decided to work on a website together, and we launched the first ever author website called PubSite. For Sue Grafton. So I think that was like 97 or something like that. We've redesigned the site 5 times now. So John and I together have had a lot of experience with book publishing, marketing of books, publicity of books, sales of books, I mean, every aspect, and of course, also websites. So what we realized is that there needs to be a tool, this was about 4 years ago, there needs to be a tool where authors can build their own website, and easily and effectively, and we created PubSite. Honestly, for all of you, I hope that you all will try it. It's a 14-day free trial. So you can just try it. If you like it, stay. If you don't like it, you don't have to stay. But today, what I want to do is, I know Alexa and I have been saying everybody needs a website for a million years. And so I want to talk about why you need a website. So if you don't mind, I'm actually going to show some screens. They're easy. There's not a lot of text in it, but it'll just keep us organized. So Alexa, is that okay? All right. All right. So I'm going to talk today about why a website actually will help you sell more books, because really that's the reason to do it. There is no other reason to have a website if it's not going to help you sell books. So I want to go through all of the different ways that you can really use your website to help you sell more books and hopefully write more books, right? So over time, as you build your audience, you're going to be able to write more books. So let's just go through this. All right, so the 3 main reasons for having an author website. The first one is you obviously need to build it. And now there are lots of tools, obviously Squarespace and Wix and Weebly, and of course, PubSite are tools for building author websites. And they make it pretty easy. All of them don't require programming, don't require design skills. The benefit of PubSite is just that it is very specific to author and author needs. We're not trying to get event planners and photographers and business owners or restaurants. It's just for authors. So every decision we've made is in service of authors. So the first thing you need to do is obviously build a website. The second thing you need to think about when you think about your website is you've got to give people a reason to visit, right? You've got to have people wanting to come first time and then repeatedly. So that's the second kind of goal that you should have. And then the third one is you've got to have a way to invite readers back to your website. So those are the 3 sort of main things to think about. Is you need to build a website, and we'll go through a little bit more of that. You need to give people a reason to visit your website. Otherwise, it's not one of those, if you build it, they will come. You actually have to give them a reason to come. And then obviously you need to have a way to invite readers to your website. Like, how are they going to find you, right? So those are the 3 things that we're going to talk about in more detail. So let's go over the first one, which is, you need to build a house for your books. I mean, you've written the books, which are hard to do. And you've got to give them a place to live on the internet. And yes, they can be on Facebook. And yes, people tell me that, oh, I have an Amazon page. None of that replaces your need for a website. You absolutely positively need a website for your book. And it's because you can control content on your website. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. So let's talk about 4 goals that you can have for your website. So very specifically, what is it that you're trying to do? So the reason you need your website is, first of all, you need a place where people can learn more about you. And it doesn't mean that Amazon doesn't have a bio and that you don't have photos on your Facebook page. You do have bits and pieces of information in different places, but this is your one place to tell your story. And that's why you need a website. You need people to learn about you. Maybe you add some photos about your career. And again, this is a career website, right? So it's not like Instagram photos of your family. It really is about your career, the journey, the story of your career. How did you get to this point where you're writing this book? And why should people care? So you need something where you are actually writing, about you. And I generally tell people to write their story, which I think is really important. The second thing is that one of the most valuable digital asset you have is a mailing list. And some of you will use it more often than others. That's fine. It totally depends on your own audience, but everyone should have one, because when you do need it, you need to be able to access it. And this is the only place where you literally own that permission. If people have given you permission to be on your mailing list, that's really valuable, because on Facebook, your page can be taken down at any time. You don't own that space at all. In any of the social media platforms, you don't own those spaces, but a mailing list, you actually own that list. Even if someone like a MailChimp says you can't use their platform anymore, excuse me, you still own the list, right? So that's really important. And one of the ways that you can use your website is have a sign up for your mailing list. So people can sign up for your mailing list. In fact, all of you should go and sign up for my mailing list right now. So make sure you do that. And then the third thing is, of course, having easy access to buying your book. So whether you are giving links to booksellers, your publisher, maybe you're selling them yourself, maybe you've got a signed edition that you want to sell yourself. In whatever way that you are selling your book, you want it all to be really easy and convenient for people. So they're not looking around trying to find where your books are and how to buy them. And then the fourth reason a website is really important is it helps you monetize the work that you're doing, right? I mean, it's a very kind of a cool word. Nobody really understands how to monetize when you're an author, but here are a few ways that you can do it. You can have a novella if you're a novelist, which you can sell on your website, and that's the only place that people can find it. You can monetize it by selling your experience. So for example, if you are let's say you're writing a novel and it's a mystery, and you've had to do a lot of research on one particular thing, let's say Irish genealogy, and you just had to do a lot of research because it's for your book. Well, now you can actually basically sell that information, that research that you've done, either as a document, or maybe you sell 1 hour of your service. So if somebody else is needing to do that research, they can hop on a call with you for an hour and get that information. So there's a way on your website to monetize your experience, your expertise. Obviously, if you're writing a nonfiction, that's a no-brainer in terms of offering advice and all of that kind of stuff. So those are the ways that you can use your website. So if you're looking at your website right now and thinking, it just has a short bio, nobody really knows who I am, then that's something you need to fix, because that's one very important reason for people to come to your website. So definitely do that. Excuse me. And then, and make sure you have a mailing list, and you can use any of the platforms. There's tons of platforms. I can talk about them in a minute, but you can use a lot of different platforms. Definitely make sure there's a lot of buy links, so it's very easy for people to buy your book. And then, of course, think about ways that you can monetize your life as an author. So it sort of like offsets the expenses. Websites are not that expensive these days. They used to be thousands of dollars to build and then, maintain and all of that. you can basically build a website very cheaply these days. And then you can, pay the monthly hosting fee. So it's not a lot of money, but monetizing it in different ways will help you offset that. And also just help you be an author, right? Like use your expertise, use your time. All right, so let's keep going. I hope this is all good. I know I talk really fast, so hopefully I'm doing okay. It's hard when you're giving a presentation and you don't see people back. Sometimes when I'm doing a bigger presentation, I'll keep all of the faces looking at me so I can actually gauge how things are going. But hopefully everything is going well. And you'll tell me if it's not. All right, so the reason basically giving readers a reason to visit, right? Let's talk about that a little bit because I think, oh, I got a thumbs up. Awesome, thank you guys. So giving readers a reason to visit, and here are some of the reasons. So I've come up with like 4 reasons that people can come to your website, and here they are. Thank you for the thumbs up. Believe it or not, it really means a lot to us when you're speaking, and it's like, you're speaking to your laptop. It's so impersonal, and thank you. I love giving presentations, but in the past, of course, pre-COVID, I used to be in conferences and writers' conferences. And so you could gauge the audience and, see if your people are smiling at you and things like that. And then, of course, COVID hit and you couldn't do that. So everybody's giving their presentation on their, staring at their screen. But it has opened up the whole world to us, right? So I'm sure there are people here from all over the world. And I know there's a big audience, international audience for Women in Publishing Summit. So I'm so excited that Zoom and this ability to actually give our presentations and talk to people from around the world has come around. So anyway, that was my little aside. So going back to what I was saying, which is giving people reasons to visit your site. So here are some reasons why people would come to your website. First, you offer unique content that cannot be available anywhere else, right? So when people tell me, oh, my publisher has a website for me, or I have an Amazon page, or I use my Facebook page for a website, none of them have unique content. So you need to build something that is unique on your website. For example, on my website, I give away for no reason, and you don't even have to sign up for my mailing list. So sorry, I've got a tickle in my throat. I hope you're ignoring that. The unique content on my website, for example, is I offer free worksheets on figuring out your brand identity, figuring out your audience, all of those kinds of things. So having unique content on your website is really important. Excuse me for 1 second. So that's another reason for people to come to your website, because it's content they can't find elsewhere. So that's one reason people will come. And if you keep it updated, obviously, if you do, content on a regular basis, so if your website is often updated, basically meaning that, you're blogging on it, or you're creating new content, or you're updating things, or you're adding photos, or however you're changing it up, it'll give people a reason to come back to your website, which is really great. And I'll talk about how to bring people back to your website. But those are things you have to do. A lot of authors I talk to will tell me, oh, I don't go to my website. And I always think it almost seems like a way that they're kind of proud of the fact that they've set up their website and they never go to it. That's not a good idea. You really want to be on your website. If you want people to come to your website, you've got to be on your website and updating it and changing it and, trying things out, change colors. On PubSite, you can change colors and content anytime you want. So definitely, I have this phrase that I use that a website should be, and maybe it is later in my presentation, but a website should be a workhorse and not a show pony, right? So you don't want to create a website that looks really pretty, but it's not really working for you. You want a website that's really working for you. It's giving you your audience, giving you a way to present the content in a unique way, change it often, all of those kinds of things. On PubSite, some of our members will actually change their website colors temporarily for the holidays, especially if they have a holiday themed book or something like that, they'll change the colors. And it's very easy on PubSite to change the colors and then go back to what you had. So it's not like it's a one, once you've done it, you can't change it again. The third thing I want you to really think about, and I feel like a lot of authors really kind of skip this part, is that you have to curate the information on your website. I've seen so many websites that has so much content, has content from like 2015, sometimes still on their homepage. And so I think it's really important for you to take the responsibility that it's your job to curate the content, not that you've thrown everything on your website and then it's people's responsibility to figure out what is important, what is not important. That's not true. You really need to make sure that you're telling people if they only spend 30 seconds on your website, where should they go? So curating the website content is your responsibility. So if you think about your website and you think, what do you want people to do when they come to your website? And remember what I said, which was that you want them to know about you, and you want them to be able to buy your books, and you want them to be able to sign up your mailing list. How easy are those three things on your website? Really think about it. And certainly with the design of your website, if you're using a website that has those 3 columns and lots and lots and lots of text, most of us get to a website like that and are so overwhelmed we leave. So think about it, clean up your website, make sure it has clear priorities, and the priorities should be what really is important to you, which is getting people to sign up for your mailing list and helping people buy your book, and also obviously creating unique content that they can get to easily. So that leads me to easy navigation. A lot of websites are really challenging to navigate. You kind of don't know where you're going. You don't know what to do next. So make sure that there is easy navigation and you're leading people by the hand by what is important. So those are the things that I think will make people come to your website. And if you update it often, they'll come again. So those are some of the ways that you can sort of build it and they will come, but you've got to do all of these things for them to make sure that they come often and that they come, if they've come once, that they will come again. So the third main thing about having an author website is, of course, you need to invite people to your website, right? And I'm leaving a lot of room for Q&As so in our presentation. So please feel free to add questions and feel free to ask me questions about marketing in general, but PubSite in specific, since we're talking about that. So the third thing you need to do is invite people to your website. So let's step back to the 3 steps, right? You build a website, and again, building a website, there's a lot of different options for building a website. There's platforms available. You can build a website yourself. Please don't let anybody tell you that you absolutely have to have a designer to build a website. I am not a website designer. I'm not a designer in any case. And I built my own website and I've updated it 3 times on PubSite. And I love it because before that, my website used to be on WordPress. And honestly, I just found it really hard to use. It was not, every time I had to make a small change, I just felt like, oh my God, I don't know where to go. So anybody can build a website. And I think one of the things I'm really proud of with PubSite is that we have a lot of women on the platform. In fact, more women than men on our platform. And I think that it's not intimidating. And a lot of women feel it very empowering to be able to control their own website, design it themselves, and run it themselves. So I hope you'll try it. All right, going back to the presentation. So the third thing you need to do is actually invite people to your website, right? That's the third sort of reason to having a website. You need to build it. You need to have unique content on it so people will come. And then how are people going to find it? You've got to actually send people to your website. So or invite rather than send. Let's talk about how you can do that. Now, a lot of attention goes into SEO discussions, and I've heard them a lot. And I think sometimes people spend way too much time and money on trying to trick Google into basically bringing people to your website. The important thing is that a lot of the content on your website is probably pretty SEO optimized because you're talking about your book, you're talking about your name. These are the things that are keywords that would bring people to your website. Now, if you've written a book on historical fiction and you think that people should type in historical fiction and come to your website, that's hard. But if it's something specific, like let's go back to my Irish genealogy example, then that is more specific and that's loaded up on your website, right? Because you've done the research, your description talks about that. So kind of think about that in a way that you're not have to worry about SEO quite as much as maybe you think. Because a lot of authors have all of those keywords built into your bio, your book descriptions, your blog posts, a lot of those things. So the important thing is to actually have an idea for how you're going to invite people to your website. So here are some of the ways that you can do that. So one thing is, of course, in social media. And a lot of authors, some authors are really great at social media, to be honest with you. And I've had a new epiphany lately, which is that not all of us are content creators, right? Some of us are. Some authors are fabulous. They're doing TikToks and they're creating graphics and they're doing reels and they're writing blogs and they're creating a lot of content because they enjoy it. And that's great. But not all of us do. I definitely don't. That's my new epiphany. It's always a drag for me to do that. I like relationships. I think I like, where I can have a relationship with people that feels more organic to me. And I like talking to people. But in generally, creating content is not my idea of a great time. So what I would say to you is if you're thinking about social media, don't try to be all things to all people. Really think about social media as being, something that you do, maybe 2 platforms. You don't have to be on all of the platforms. You can do platforms limitedly. So you can actually do, feel comfortable with that. And then remember that social media is a great way to bring people back to your website. So whether you've got a new content piece, whether you've got new photos, whether you've got, free media, content in there, you've posted something really useful, you're selling something, whatever it is, try to point people back to your website for where they can get more information and ultimately sign up for your mailing list, right? So that's the goal for social media, is to actually bring people, raise awareness, obviously, build relationships, of course, but also to bring traffic back to your website. And then the other thing you want to do is have a way to bring people back to your website through your mailing list. And again, newsletters are a great way to do that. So if you create new content on your website, you can bring people back to your website through your newsletters. And again, some people do newsletters very often and other people do it less often. So you can sort of try to do your, the rhythm that makes sense to you. People ask me this all the time about how often they should do newsletters. And honestly, it totally depends on you. I think even quarterly is fine. And I fall off that wagon all the time. I haven't done a newsletter in a while right now because this year has been so crazy. But just as long as you have the mailing list and you can do it, then when you have something important to say, you have people who are willing to listen to it. And again, your goal on your email newsletter is to bring people back to your website. And then, of course, events like this. So if you're, here and, giving a presentation at a library or an online event or something, definitely ask people to join your mailing list and say, for example, on my mailing list, when you sign up, you get a little video about the biggest mistakes authors make. So it's a way to give people something for signing up for your mailing list, but hopefully they enjoy the content anyway and will stay. Of course, you can do ads, Facebook ads, or any kind of ads that you can do to bring people back to your website. Those are really great ways of doing it. And of course, publicity, which means that if you're doing an interview or anytime someone mentions your book in a review or something like that, there is a link in your bio that brings people back to your website. So I want you to think about these 3 steps as you build the website, you create enough good content on it so it's worth coming back to your website, and then you have all of these different ways of bringing people to your website, right? So those are the 3 sort of ways to think about, like big picture, like macro way of thinking about your website and how to really leverage it for bringing people back, to build it in a way that people stay and come back, and then having a place, a destination. So all of your other marketing efforts are actually pointing people back to your website. Okay, so that's the overall picture. Hopefully that's good. I don't really want to keep giving you slides. Actually want to start doing your Q&As because I think that's engagement and I think it'll be more fun that way. So I'm going to stop sharing. And we have plenty of time for questions. So I'm dying to know what you think and what your questions are.
Do you want me to read these out to you? Or
I would love that. Thank you so much.
Well, first of all, you have a fan. I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. Rahana has said that they've been marketing your platform to authors who want websites all over the place. So that's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahana. I so appreciate it. It sounds like we've got a Desi girl here. Private joke. Thank you for your support.
Kim says, and some of these you may have answered through your presentation, but I've been constructing my first ever website on Wix and find it very intuitive. What 5 things what 5 things would be most important to have on your author website? I would say you covered that fairly well.
I did cover that really well. And honestly, if you are enjoying Wix and you like the platform and you like the designs and all of that, that's totally fine. There's so many options now that there's no reason to use one. So if you're finding Wix helpful and intuitive, that's great. But I do think I sort of talked about the kinds of things you should have on your website, but I'll go through it quickly. Alexa, we have plenty of time, right? I can answer that.
Oh yeah, we got 30 minutes.
Yeah, to just answer questions, which I'm excited about. And again, I'm a fast talker, so we can definitely go back and talk about some of the things I talked about. So 5 things you should have on your website. Definitely your bio. And I think this is really important, and I want to kind of stress this a little bit. I think the bio on your website should be first person, but you can have a third person bio as well for like a media person or someone who you're giving a presentation for and they want to grab a bio. You should have that too. But in general, if you've got people coming to your website, I think you need to have a first person bio. So have that. I also like sort of a story about your career. So if you think that you can add a little bit longer bio, tell a little story, that would be great. You obviously need to have information about your books. You should have a mailing list on your website, and a lot of platforms have them built in. Some of them are completely separate. You can do it any way you want. Ways for people to connect with you. And think about, unique content, whether it's blog post or something that people can only find on your website. So that's what I would say. Oh, oops, I think, you're on mute.
Okay. If you already have your own website but want to redo it, can you use PubSite?
Yes, I did it. Yes, come. It's easy. Yes, you can absolutely do that. What we've done is, so I had my website on WordPress for the longest time. And as I said, I just found it difficult to update, but also because I wanted to change the design and the menu bar. And every time I thought about that, my designers would literally, I could like see their eyes rolling up in their head when they were like, oh, I have to redesign the whole header. And I was like, no, okay, never mind. But on PubSite, I can change the menu anytime I want by dragging and dropping. So easy. And change the header anytime I want, which I love. So you can definitely switch to PubSite from any platform. We also have, if you've been blogging on WordPress, you obviously don't want to lose your blogs. I would suggest that you can export those blogs, and PubSite has a way of importing them. So you don't lose your blogs and you can actually start designing. But think about it and make sure that your blogs are updated. And so if you have old blogs, my suggestion would be to just redo them, get them updated and post them as new, because then it's new content, and then Google likes new content and it'll index your site for new stuff. But if you just import blogs, which I did, I've learned my lesson. But I had blogs from years ago thinking, oh, it's good content, but it's not, it's just buried. Nobody needs to read my blogs from 2015. So that would be my advice, is to, update your blogs if you're going to import them.
Sounds good. All right, let's see. Betty says, I already have a website for my business. Are you recommending that I create a website exclusively for my published books, or can I utilize the website I already have?
You can definitely use the website you already have. It really depends on what your business is and what your book is. If you're writing a book to enhance your business, don't go anywhere, right? You want all of the traffic coming to your website for your business because that's why you wrote the book. But if you've written, you are let's say a therapist and you've written a children's book, that doesn't really mash, right? So there's no reason to bring those two together. And for that, you need an author website, especially if you're building a career. So those are the two ways that I would think about it, is that if your business site is actually sort of related to your book, then definitely keep it all on one site. But if they're two different entities completely, and then you do need an author website to build your author portfolio.
Awesome. Okay, Robin says, can I link PubSite to my existing site? I'm a copywriter.
So PubSite is not an add-on. It's actually a full functioning website platform, just like Wix. So I don't think you do both of them. You can definitely, if you decide you want a website on Wix and a website on PubSite, I don't know why you'd want that. But if you have two different websites, you can certainly link to both of them. But PubSite's really, the benefit that most people really love about PubSite is that it is made for books and authors. So it sizes the book jacket to the size it's supposed to be, instead of humongous ones. And it has links to booksellers all over the world. So you can have booksellers from different countries even, very easily add links. You don't have to worry about going and finding logos. It has links to like the Amazon follow button and Goodreads, things that are very, very specific to book publishing. So if you want to use PubSite for books, it's actually perfect for that. And if you have a Wix website for your business, that's fine. And you can link the two, basically sending traffic back and forth.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a discounted rate for people who are on disability?
I don't think, we have a discounted rate for women in publishing people, but I don't know if we've created something, but that is a great idea. John is on the call. John, let's think about that. So not yet, but that sounds like a great idea. So I appreciate that.
Okay. And I just dropped the link a minute ago down there where you can get the $14.99 a month rate, which is a $5 off for a whole year discount. And that's for accessing their platform and for hosting. So consider that when you're thinking about it. So, okay, let's see. Next question. Oh, great one here. What about sales tax charging and stats, etc. for IRS? How do I do that? I live in a state with no sales tax, but almost every other state does.
Okay, that is above my pay grade completely. So
well, I can answer this one a little bit actually, because it is something that, yes. So first of all, it depends on how you're selling your books on your website. If you're using all of the sales links, which let me tell you, PubSite makes it so easy. You just go, you grab your links, you drop it in there, and then you can put the things on your website. I'm sorry, I do not know how to turn off that dinging notification. I hope it's not driving everybody crazy, but if you drop those links in there, like your link to Bookshop or Barnes and Noble or Amazon or any of those places, you're not actually selling your book on your website. You are directing people to a third-party website, and you don't have to worry about anything. Amazon, Barnes and Noble, all those places, they take care of the tax. You are just redirecting to a third-party site. However, if you have a link to a place like Thrivecart or another type of cart, or you're using e-commerce in the way that someone is directly paying you and you are fulfilling that order and shipping it out, then you need to find out what your state laws are for selling retail on a website in the first place. That's the first place you start, because every state is different. Some people require a license, a special license to do e-commerce on your website in your states. Some don't. So start by going to your Secretary of State or whatever in your state that is, and find out that first and foremost. And then when it comes to the taxes, you can either choose to pay the taxes on your end. So let's say you put it up for retail and you charge shipping, but you don't charge tax. That just means at the end of the year, your accountant's going to have to figure out how much tax you have to pay. And that's something that you take on, or you can add in. Most e-commerce sites allow you to add in the tax option. So that's a big business question. And it's something you definitely want to get with your accountant about before you go that route. But really the easiest way is to just sell through third-party retailers from your website until you're in a place where you can do all of that.
Yay, thank you, Alexa. I had no idea how to answer that question, because you know
we're here to support each other. I got you.
And yeah, first of all, numbers and I not the greatest friends. So anything that is number related or taxes or whatever, I'm like, not me.
And I should have given the disclaimer, I am neither a tax professional nor a legal advisor. So that's just what I know from my own business knowledge.
Yeah. So yeah, but I do think that your advice is spot on in terms of making sure that it's the easiest thing to do is to basically sell through a bookseller. The only thing is that, of course, as we move forward, there is, in the next few years, I think there's going to be a lot of pushback on the fact that most of us can sell anything from anywhere, and we deserve to know who's buying our content and who's buying our stuff, right? So there's going to be a push towards this whole Amazon has the customer information and the rest of us are sort of standing outside going, let us in. So I think over time that might change, and people might start selling things more directly for the access to their own customers. And so we'll see how that goes. But I think at this point, selling through a bookseller is a good idea.
Yes, I would agree until you're set up for other things.
Yes.
All right. Good question here by Carol. Okay. What is a reasonable cost for getting regular hosting?
Oh, I don't know that question either. So I
know that one too.
Alexa, you and I are like such a good team.
I got you. So, it really depends on who you're going through, but I can tell you that some places will offer sales on like your initial sign up. You can get hosting for as low as $2 or $3 a month for like a year, but generally most places after that first year is over, you're looking at 16 to 18-ish dollars per month just in hosting costs. Yeah. So for the year. So this $14.99, that's for usage of the platform and the hosting, which you'd definitely be paying around $14.99 at a minimum for hosting every month. Some places run deals and specials. Don't yell at me that you found a rate here and you're getting it for $3 a month, because I know. But
yeah, and you can, I think there are places that offer it for like $3 and $5 and all of that kind of stuff. But you've got to compare oranges and, oranges to oranges kind of situation, because you want to make sure that you are on a very stable platform and where they are hosting. And sometimes the really super cheap options, they'll have so many websites on one server because it's cheap, that the sites download very, very slowly. So if you're finding that your website is really hanging, or people are saying, I couldn't get to it or something, it could be that your website is on a server that is just overcrowded. And one of the things we've done on PubSite is that we have our own servers that only host our sites. So it's really a much faster download time for that reason.
Exactly. This is one I know you can answer.
Okay, give me.
Rebecca would like your website address so that you can follow her. They can follow you and get on your email list.
Yay! Thank you so much. So it's FauziaBurke.com, and I'm gonna just give you that link in chat so you can come to my website and see what you think. I hope you like it. I'm thinking of changing it for the new year, so I'll be changing that around, but you can go to my website. You'll see that there are free worksheets there that you don't have to join my mailing list to get the free worksheets. You can just get them and use them for sure. I think they're very, very helpful, very useful. But there is a mailing list as well, and I would love for you to join my mailing list so I can bug you sometimes once a year or twice a year if I finally get to it. So that gives you all permission to be not as efficient if I'm not doing it, you don't have to do it either.
Amazing. Okay, great question from Rebecca. When you say update your website often, what do you mean by often?
Oh, what a great question. So some people update their websites almost daily, right? You obviously are not going to feel like doing that. But once you build it as a workhorse, as I said, where you are thinking, okay, I got an interview, I'm going to put that on my website. I've got an event coming up, I'm going to put that on my website. You will be on your website fairly often without having to say, oh, here's my schedule for updating the website, right? Make it part of your routine. So if you got a great idea and you created a great graphic for Instagram, stick it on your website as well. There's no reason not to do it. So I would say build it, instead of thinking of it as a schedule, like I will blog every 2 weeks, or I will do this every week or something like that. Just build it into your workflow. So if you do something that feels like, oh, I would love to share that, let's say it's 10 tips on getting, your book on PubSite. Somebody should write that, by the way. Building a website, and you've decided, or you write, you've attended this session and maybe you've gotten 3 tips out of it, and you write a blog post for it, you post that. That way it's on your website, right? You've created that content, and then you can post about it on your social media and point people to your website. So it's almost as if you don't want to think about it as a schedule, as opposed to just building it into your workflow. So I would say often it really depends on you. Sometimes it might be once a week, sometimes it might be 3 times a week. And again, if you have a new book coming out, you'll have a lot more to say. There'll be reviews coming up, there'll be interviews, you'll be doing things. And then there'll be other times where you're maybe a little bit more dormant. So it really depends on your workflow.
Great answer. Okay, let's see here. The next one is, can you transfer your content? Can you transfer your content from WordPress, like your blog post? I'm assuming she means, can you pull in your blog post? I think we answered that one already, didn't we?
We did. You can absolutely export your blog post from WordPress, and we have a way to import your blog on PubSite. But I always tell people to really use this as an opportunity to clean house and only bring in what you feel is really valuable today in 2022. So if you have older blogs, keep them. Definitely, it's your work, but update them and then post them as new content. But you can absolutely import your blogs. I did it.
Awesome. Okay. Do you offer websites design service?
That's a really good question. So the reason it's a good question is because everyone at PubSite has been discussing this for the last 3 months, and we've really been going back and forth about it. We believe that PubSite is a great do-it-yourself platform. And so I think that if you take the time, we've got videos so you can do it. We've got great email support. We've got a help site. If you go in and explore and build it yourself, I believe it's more empowering for you long-term. So it means that you can then update it, you can fool around with colors, you can enjoy it more, and it becomes part of your process, as opposed to us building it for you. And then every time you even have a little change, you're back to that whole old paradigm of like having someone update your website. So we are not offering design services going forward, because we really want to empower people to take advantage of their website and build it as a tool for themselves, as opposed to this thing someone else does for them. So that's been the big discussion. We're into empowerment, we're into do it yourself, learn it, and you will feel like it's much more part of your process rather than something you do on the side.
Well, and if I can piggyback on that a little bit, I mean, it may seem really, really overwhelming. And I want to tell you that Nancy and I built our website on PubSite in about 4 hours for Purple Butterfly Press. Now, granted, that wasn't everything. It's not done. We're continuously adding to it, but we had all of our books, all of our authors, our blog, our About Us page, all of that set up. Now, do we have a little bit of a background in website stuff? Yes, Nancy and I have been working on WordPress and some other sites for the last 10 years. So we generally have a knowledge of how to do things. But it's such an easy, like John says in his training, it's literally just filling out forms. You just drop links, you drop titles, you drop descriptions, boom, boom, boom. You can choose a layout that's already there. But one of the reasons why I think, and some of you may be like, I have absolutely no interest in ever touching my own website, and then a DIY website is not for you. But one of the nice things about it is that I've seen so many of our authors go through having somebody build them a beautifully designed website, just like Fazia was saying at the beginning, and then they don't know how to do anything and to change anything or to make a little tweak that if you do it yourself, you can do in 5 minutes is now like an hour-long process, and you're crying and your website designer stopped doing websites and you can't find them, or they left the country or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
So
yes. All of that. Yes.
All of
and
that.
Again,
So.
we've been doing that model for 20 years almost now, right? Like when the web started and people started doing their websites in like late 90s, that's been the standing model. You build this beautiful website, you don't know how to update it, you have to always get help from other people to do it. And it's really kind of it's not part of your process. It's not
Right.
part of your writing work. And
Right.
so it just sits there like a painting, right? Like it's just something that's on the wall and you never touch it again. And if you have a new book, you need to go find someone and redesign the whole thing and spend all that money again. So we just felt like that's a very old way of doing things. And the new method is really about empowerment and using your website as a tool that's part of your writing business. And also the other thing I want to say about PubSite is that when you use PubSite, if you have a new book, it scales with you. And that's why, Alexa, you used it for a publishing company, because it's so easy to add a new book. You don't have to redesign the homepage. You don't have to worry about how to redo it, how to redo the colors. You can literally launch a new book and it just grows and scales with you.
Yes.
And
And when
I
love your events feature. I mean, there are just so many great things on there that really make it a useful tool. And shoot, I had a really good point that I wanted to make and it left my mind, but if it comes back, I'll add it back in there.
Scalable, the fact that it's scalable, the fact that it's easy to add new books.
Easy to add. It'll come back to me. I'm sure it will. Oh, I know what it was. Somebody mentioned that here's what I wanted to say. So with the link that I dropped, womenandpublishingsummit.com/pub-site, which is in the chat, but I can drop it again in a second here. That gets you the discount. But the beautiful thing is that it gets you a 2-week free trial. So you can go into it, you can play around, you can see if it's something you think that you can figure out along with their tutorials, and get some hands-on experience before you make a decision. And if you decide you don't want to go further, then you at least have that knowledge in your pocket.
That's exactly right. And everybody gets the 14-day free trial. So just go and enjoy and try it. And if you're on the verge and you're like, I think I like it, but I'm not really sure, please write to, I mean, that's, I guess, the beauty of PubSite is that it's not some big, a black hole of a company where you can't reach people. You can reach us, go to our help site, email us, somebody will get back to you, and we will extend on occasion. If you're reusing you're at 14 days, but you need just 4 more days, or, you need a few more days, just write to us and we'll extend it for you. But we want you to be on the platform and enjoy it, but it is a do-it-yourself platform. And I think, as Alexa said, that's not for everyone, but that is the future. Like, we're doing yourself everything. Yeah. Like from Christmas cards to our grocery
world.
Right? Groceries, we're like checking in at hotels ourselves. So the future is all about doing it yourself in any case. So this is a good platform to learn, and it'll help you going forward for sure.
This is a question for John. We've seen this in the past, and I can't remember what the workaround was, but Stacy said she tried to get on the site and Safari said it wasn't safe. It never pops up on Chrome. I never have this issue on Chrome, but I remember us talking about this in the workshop. It is a safely secured site with all the security
Absolutely.
things. It may be that we had an HTTPS where there shouldn't have been. Did you go through the link that I sent? Because I think that one should take you to the right place. And also Stacy says, so what happens, Stacy, with the HTTPS yourname.pubsite.pro.com, that's just your initial setup, but like purplebutterflypress.net is purplebutterflypress.net. You can still have your own URL that is linked in, and John can help you do that so that you have.
Yeah, just write to our help site. Somebody will get back to you. We have
Maybe not John specifically, but somebody will help you.
John's like, stop talking about me.
I know, I don't do that anymore. Okay.
But yes, I think that all of this. So that's another actually good point, Alexa, that the 1495 also, or 99, whatever it is, also includes a security certificate for every single website. Some platforms ask for more for that, like add-on and things like that. And then the other thing that we did with PubSite was that it's the one flat fee, no matter what the services and not services features you use. So you can use anything on PubSite, and it's the same fee. So you can have a publisher website, or you can have 3 books, or you can use all of the different features. And there isn't like, now you owe this much and now you owe that much. We just didn't want to do that. So it's one price, and you can just try different things to do it. John did answer in the chat. I'm so glad he was here.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see. So that answers the other domain name. You can absolutely use your own.
Absolutely. I do. Yeah, we all do. We've all used it.
I'm just going to quickly tell Robin, no, you do not need more than one website, a separate website for each book. You can put them all on the same website.
No, definitely not. Everything under your name.
Yes. Let's see here. Oh, what's your IG handle, Fazia? Do you have your
Instagram handle? Everything is Fazia Burke, because you know what? There's only one of me. So that was very beneficial. Marrying John was a great way to get a good last name as well as a interesting first name.
Try being a big wharf.
Yeah, you're not going to lose me. Like, just search for Fazia Burke. You will find me all over the web. I've been around, so everything is under my name. And you can get the links on my website to all of my social media. So you can come say hi. I'm a Twitter girl, so that's where I hang out the most. So if you want to say hi to me in real time, Twitter is probably a better place than Instagram, because going back, I hate making graphics. I do it and I've helped with it, but it's not my favorite thing. But Twitter is my favorite.
Mary, when you click that link that we sent you, it should take you directly to a page that says, it says author websites built, blah, 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 special offer, $14.99 a month. And then down and you click on get started. And when you go there, then you'll be prompted for your information, and you get started with a 14-day trial. So the 14-day trial information is not on that page, but it's on the next page when you go through there. Let's see, enable copy. I don't know how to do that. It's not giving me an option to enable copy. So Kim, it's just womenandpublishingsummit.com/pubsite and faziaburke.com. Is that correct?
Yep.
FAUZIABURKE.com. And well, this is wonderful. Kim would like to be in contact with you so that she can have you come speak at the Greater Los Angeles Writers Society.
I would love that. Thank you, Kim. That would be awesome. I'm actually putting in the link to the direct discount page on PubSite. Maybe that'll solve some of these problems. So
yeah,
you can just go there and sign up for the free trial.
Perfect. Let's see here. How many pages can you have on a PubSite author site?
This is such a good question. And honestly, anyone who's telling you that a website should be charged by pages is nuts. You should have as many pages as you want, as long as you're curating the content and as long as the content is relevant to your work. Please don't worry about the pages. PubSite, you can create as many pages as you want. You can have a photo gallery, you can have events, you can have all sorts of things. Websites should not be charging you per page. It makes no sense whatsoever. And I am not a big fan of the one-page site. I don't know, the Paraxel site where you just scroll and like have a little tiny bio and stuff. So I feel like I'm the yelling at like the wind on that front. But the reason I don't like it for authors is because we are in the word game, right? We write words, we read words. And so a lot of those one-page Paraxel sites are really like, use 16 words, use 22 words. Like it's very, very limiting. And so those I don't think work for authors. They might work for a restaurant or something like that, but not for an author. So use as many pages as you want.
Felicia, just quickly, yes, they do have an assist service. If you guys still have your assist service, right?
We're phasing that out, Alexa, for that reason, because we're really trying to, we just realized that it's not a long-term solution, it's really, people do need to learn the platform. And I think once they learn the platform, they put it to better use.
Yeah.
So we're just starting to phase that out, and we're encouraging people to build it themselves.
And I'm just going to hit these last two questions because we're over the hour now. So for Diane and Stacy, both have questions about their domains, or if they've already had a domain other places, or they have a website on another site and you want to build on PubSite. Can you use the same name? Can you transfer? Do you have to have a new name? All of these things.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically what happens is the domain name, there's an IP address, which is where your website is, and it just points to that domain name. So when you change the website, you just change the IP address, and now it points to, so your domain name now points to the new website. It's a pretty simple thing. It's a change that you need to make in your, where you register your domain name. And if that sounds scary, because it does to me, we have people on PubSite Help who can help you transfer your domain name. So not transfer, point your domain name to the new site. It's no problem at all. People do it all the time. And you should really have your domain name separate from your website, so you can change your domain and change your platform anytime you want. Having everything under one house is not always it's not always easy to move.
Yeah. So yes, Diane, you can set up a new website under the same name and just repeat your address. Okay. Yes. We could talk about blogs and mailing lists and content for hours and hours and hours. So I'm just going to invite you all to come to the Women in Publishing Summit in March, where we will be digging into those types of topics and a little more. And of course, Fazia and John will be there to answer questions about PubSite Live during the conference as well. So again, thank you so much for everything that you do for our community and for being such a gracious sponsor and just a fun friend.
I know, I so value our friendship, and I can't wait for the summit. We'll bring John out of the chat. He can actually be in seeing people. But John's been the mastermind behind PubSite, so I want to give him kudos for building something that we all love so much and have used, and just feels great about it. So thank you, everyone. So happy to be with all of you. Reach out to all of us, PubSite, on my site, whatever, and we'll be happy to help you in any way we can.
And we will get this recording out as quickly as we can. And yes, John, you get to come out of the basement. Yay.
John, just keep making the platform better. That's what we need.
I just want you to know that Cindy said this is one of the best webinars we've had. So
oh, that's so wonderful. Thank you guys so much. I love this community, and I love you, Alexa. Thank you for having us, and thank you for your support from the beginning.
Love you too. All right. Awesome. Have a wonderful day, everyone. We'll see you
too.
Soon.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye, everyone. Great to meet you all. Bye.
Bye.